everybody. I hope y'all are doing well. I just wanted to do kind of a generic recording about the placement process and kind of where we are with that. I know some of you have your placements, some of you don't. And this recording is not directed at anyone in particular, is just a generic recording that I hope might help y'all out. Okay, so Mrs. Kaysen sent me the way that the placement process works. All right, so the students complete a placement request form, and there's a form that you all initial and has some information such as this on there. I understand I may not be assigned a school near my home, FMU employer, and I am responsible for working out transportation to and from the assigned school for this placement. And also, I understand I may not be placed in my school district of employment, and it is up to me to work out how and when I will complete these hours with my school of employment and my assigned CT. FMU does not work this out for me. Okay, so those are a couple of the things that I wanted you all to just remember. So you all initialed this, you all initialed every point, but here are kind of where some questions and some complaints are coming from. And let me tell you how the placement process then works. Okay, so after you all complete those forms, Mrs. Kaysen has to deal with all the districts. Y'all are from all across the state, right? Everywhere. So every district has a different process for placing students. For some, the principals approve the placement. Others, it's a placement coordinator. Others, it's a human resource director, etc. On the placement form, the student is instructed to speak with the appropriate school personnel about the placement and how they will be allowed to complete these hours. Okay, so as employees of the districts, it is assumed that students will better know who the first person that we need to talk to is. This allows the student to plan for how they will complete the hours. So not all students do this step, which may result in having to require that section to be completed in the future before she moves forward with finding placements. Okay, so then Mrs. Kaysen takes the information provided on that placement request form, along with the initial stuff, and send it to either who is on the form or who I need to contact, whoever the appropriate person is. She includes the following charts: 7th through 12th LD math, 30 hours, must be completed by April 26th. And then she adds in your information, the district requesting hours, student recommended schools, student recommended cooperative teacher, all these other things. Okay, and then while she provides the preferred district school, ultimately the district tells her where you all will be placed. Okay, so Mrs. Kaysen, she A, works tirelessly on these placements, but B, she is not in control. Unfortunately, she says down here, she is at the mercy of the district. So she takes your forms, she takes your preferred district and school, and then she sends it on to the district or the school, and then they ultimately make the decision. Okay, so it is out of her hands. So which A is why some of you might not be getting the school that you quote unquote requested. They don't have a placement for you. And B, that's why some of you might not have your placements yet. She is still waiting to hear back from a couple districts. Okay, so some districts are very hard to get a response from. So that's why she asked that the form be completed and emailed back last semester. She has learned, and we've learned over the years, that if you start, if we're able to start before the winter break, almost everyone who submitted the form on time will get a placement before the semester even started. Okay, so again, some unfortunately are in those harder to get a response district, but she follows up daily. So she is in contact with these districts every day until you all get placed. Okay, so again, even when we get a placement, it's always over. Sometimes we give us spots that are not correct, so the student has to wait while a correct classroom placement is worked out for them. For example, I know someone in this class got a placement that was not math, and the student said, and so Mrs. Kaysen had to go back to the district and say, we need a math placement. That's the whole point of 764. So again, we understand that you want to start. She is trying to work out, she, again, relays your information to the districts, and we try to get you all the schools you want. I have nothing to do with this. Mrs. Kaysen does everything, and she's amazing. So she's trying to work it out, but she tries to make sure that you get spots as soon as possible and close to where you want and where you work. But unfortunately, she and therefore you all are at the mercy of the districts. Okay, so I just wanted to touch base about that. So that's why we asked the placement forms to be completed, in the fall semester so that she can get a jump on this. She works on this up until like the day that the university closes for winter break. Okay, so that's why we asked for them way back when. B, now the forms are out of her hand. So if you're still waiting on a placement, she's waiting on it too, right? She's contacting the district. She's doing everything that she can on her end. Even with me, I have a student teacher this semester, a graduate student teacher, and I've emailed the cooperating teacher 3 times and finally got a response yesterday. So, and the student's already in like, week 2 or whatever. So I was like, we kind of need to have our introductory meeting. So Mrs. Casey is doing everything that she can. Again, she asks for the schools that you all ask for. It doesn't always work, okay? So that is up to you, and that's where this form came in. That's up to you to work out with your school and where you currently are working and your district to get the hours. They know, or they should have known that you need these 30 hours. You should have known that. So you need to do what you can to work out with your district or your school. You are not to go just simply 3 days in a row because that kind of defeats the purpose. So ideally about 2 hours a day. I know that's not always possible, or, maybe 6 hours a week or so. So maybe try doing 3 times a week, something like that. Um, you need to find a schedule that works kind of for everybody involved. As soon as you get your placements, go ahead and contact the cooperating teacher and get started sooner rather than later, because we're coming up on February. We know spring break is coming up. We are hoping there are no more snow days or weather or any other days that, natural disasters that might happen. So just get started as soon as possible. And, you do have until April 26th. So hopefully we will be able to get these hours in. Remember, 10, so you need 40 total hours, and that is a state requirement. But 10 of the hours will come from watching videos. So hold on one second. I'm going to pause. I'll be right. Okay, I'm back. I wanted to pull up the syllabus, and I knew it would take too long while I was on the video, so I paused it for a second. So remember, you do need 40 hours for this course. Again, that is a state requirement. I just kind of addressed this, right, the placement part. So just like 746, the class that most of you took last semester, 30 hours will take place in the classroom, while 10 hours will be completed by watching videos and reflecting upon practices you observe. Okay, so, again, what you do while you're out in the practicum is kind of up to your, is mostly up to your CT, right? So I want you to at least teach 5 lessons, and whatever teach means in your particular placement, right? So what you teach is the CT's choice. So you can, they can ask you to teach a new lesson if they think you're ready, a remediation lesson, scripted lessons. If you have the textbook, there are some really great scripted lessons. If you have a student struggling with geometry or something, let's say, maybe you could say to your CT, hey, I have this book and it scripts how I could teach some of these concepts and skills. Can I try some of these with either the whole class or this particular small group of students or this student, whatever. Ideally, we want a group, 2 to 5 students, but if you teach whole class, that's also fine. And of course, if you only teach one student, then you only teach one student. It's hard to find math placements, y'all. There are just not as many 7 through 12 students identified with math disability. So it's difficult, which also is what takes so long with this particular course, being placed. So again, completely up to your CT what they would like you to teach. If they want you to teach more than 5, that's great. I did this where I think I told y'all it's hard to make everyone happy in this class, as it's already been evidenced. But it's hard for some of you all to kind of come in and start teaching what the CT is doing, as that might not be your background. You might not be comfortable with teaching dividing fractions to 7th graders or something like that, right? So I really tried to make it as user-friendly as possible for both the CT and all of you. Okay, so, in your initial days, you can meet with the CT, that can count as some hours, just kind of observing, watching what he or she does in the classroom, watching some math strategies that you might see, maybe taking notes, and then teaching. Again, that's kind of in quotes, so whatever teaching means in your particular setting, okay? You don't have to write lesson plans for that. So I took those out, I think, last year, and I think the students really appreciated not having to write lesson plans. You may have to, when you end up student teaching, you might have to, if math is one of your subjects, you will have to write lesson plans then. But for this placement, it's really hard to find a procedure that works for everybody, if that makes sense. Given the differences in schools and the difference in districts and the difference in students that are out there that you're working with and all these things. So again, I tried to make it as user friendly as possible. Okay, so remember you must have 30 hours in the classroom, and then the 10 remaining hours will be from watching 5 different videos. So you will end up with a total of 40 hours, again, state requirement, okay? And then so 30 hours in the classroom and then 5 videos, okay? Also remember that, ideally should be about, you know, 2 hours, give or take, kind of per day. So you can't just go to your placement for a couple full days and say you got all your hours, because that defeats the purpose. So again, that comes up back to you. You need to work it out with your school and your district about how you're going to get these hours, okay? And if you think that's going to be a problem, then you should just go ahead and drop the class now. And I don't mean to sound, blunt, but if you're not going to be able to get the 30 hours, doing it, maybe 2 hours, 3 times a week or something like that, then you might want to think about if you will be able to be successful in this course. All right, so I think that's about it. I did just want to touch base about like I said, the placement process, and then kind of, how to spend your time. Yeah, somebody asked me if you can count time when you're prepping to teach your students. Yeah, I guess, but I don't want to see, like 10 hours spent prepping for your students, given that what you're teaching is not coming from your own lesson plans, right? If your teacher wants you to write lesson plans and teach what you want to teach, or what they want you to teach, that's fine. So you can count up to, I don't know, 4-ish, maybe 5 at best. That's a lot. How about 3? You can count up to 3. All right, 5. I'll give you 5. Fine. So you can count up to 5 hours for prepping and planning, but you need to make sure you're actually prepping and planning for your student, okay? And I'm probably going to regret that, but also remember you have the explicit instruction, or excuse me, the application exercise is coming up, and then you will do some progress monitoring. This is not posted yet, but I will get it out there for you all. But the application assignment is posted under, hold on, is posted under Assignment Spring 2022, and it's right here. There's a recording about it. Here's the actual uh, PDF that you will read, and then here's where you will answer. You'll just use bullet points and sentences or bullet points to know any exemplary practices during the opening, the body, and the close of the lesson. And this is where you will submit your assignment. And remember, it is due, oh, not for a while, February 11th. I was thinking it was due a little earlier. So you still have plenty of time with that. And then, like I said, I will get the progress monitoring stuff posted as well. All right, so please, and I know it's hard, but Mrs. Kaysen really does work tirelessly on these placements. Plus, she has all the undergrad placements to do as well. So be patient, and again, know that it's not her that you're being patient with, it is the districts and the schools. She is just sitting here waiting. We are all at the mercy of the districts and the schools. So if you don't have your placement, be patient. She is doing everything she can to get in contact with those to get a response from those districts. If you do have your placement, contact your CT. The sooner the better, and go ahead and get started on your hours. All right, I think that's it for now. Have a great rest of the week.